my name is Jessica Holyfield. I'm a professional dancer, professional dance choreographer, and dance educator based out of the southeast of the United States. And we're going to be taking a look at 17's Happy Ending as a choreography video. I believe it is a Japanese track from them because it's from their official YouTube from Japan. Excited to take a look at this. Let's go ahead and check it out. That was cool. I love that. Hey! Wow! Happy ending, happy ending. Ooh, love that. Hey. That's cool. Yes. I love the double tap on that. Normally they just hold, but it's cool to have a double into the throat. Ooh, I love that. Yeah. Love that. I want to learn that. Honestly, that little groove right there was super fun how they brought it forward and it came up and built it back up. Super cool. Yeah. Yeah. Hey. Yeah, that was really nice. It was definitely, it vibed more on, what is it? So if you think about what we have gleaned from 17 thus far, because remember, my scope is only from their debut until this track in particular, and then their very recent comeback, God of Music, at the time that this is being filmed. So I think that, what is it? What I have gleaned so far is they have a huge range of tracks that they like to utilize or concepts that they like to utilize because they're very proficient at them. And for this concept in particular, this one just feels more, it feels more just kind of midline. Like this is like very mid for 17, but not mid in a negative way, mid in the sense of it's not this overly gregarious concept or this overly neurotic concept, or it's not really pursuing a super sentimental or super fast-paced, or there's not something dynamifying it that makes it or gimmicky that makes it have to feel a certain emotional attachment to it. And this one just feels like a really nice just track with choreo. Like it just feels like it just feels good, you know? But there's nothing astronomically like whoa about it in comparison to the other wow moments that we normally experience in their tracks, which is so impressive. You know, like just being able to even say that for how clean this was and how dynamic it was and how competent everybody was in justifying the techniques. The fact that this isn't considered like a lower end or upper end and this is like just an average kind of routine from them is great, you know, and it makes me really happy of the fact that I feel like I'm growing a lot as an educator or as a teacher, just being able to see all the different ways that these formations with this number of people in particular can do. So whenever, because actually, funnily enough, I have it's a large group of 13, and just being able to see them just cultivate and use all these formations in this way are really inspiring for me. It's not going to motivate me enough to change what I have because my kids are like 10, 11 years old and we're getting too close to competition to really make those big changes. But I'm saying that this is really helpful for me for if I get a group of 13 again, I definitely have a more subconscious understanding of how you can use 13 people on a stage in comparison to what I had before I started watching these. So thank you to those who voted for 17 as my K-pop marathon for my first one. I love it with the toe tap, with the head, super nice with the walks, presenting. Yeah, and it has a more rock aesthetic, which honestly I feel is definitely a Japan vibe. That reads more because with the anime openings and a lot of popular groups do cater more towards a rock concept. So having that rock instrumentation in the back really does help, I think, carry over and cross over well. I love that da 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 boom, and then when they hit that bass with just having that body roll, my one note I will say though is we do have one of them that does have his arm a little bit too linear out and not quite where it needs to be unless he's a feature. He's not. So that was just my one note that he needed to raise it up just a little bit to keep it in line. He had a little bit too low underneath his head, melting it down. I love that da da da. Yeah, but then hold on. So everybody molded down except for my front guy. He's the only one who didn't really like use his upper body. He just kind of militantly went down. You know, still everybody has the same angles and everything. Everybody's kind of head is super pushed down or you have them looking more angled down. So that would be something I would clarify is how you want to do that. I do love what ends up happening here though a lot. Where he goes, he grabs and then they pull and they give that, just that miming effect that they too were affected. I love when they do that because it connects your features to everybody else and it feels like a whole group the whole time. It doesn't feel like, okay, now it's time to showcase so-and-so. It feels like I'm watching 17 the whole time, which is great in these cases, you know, because I'm not super familiar with all the members. And at the end of this, I probably still won't. But I'll be very familiar with their fingerprints, their movement quality, and their choreography. That is for sure. And their discography, because I've heard so many tracks that I've never heard before, which I really love. I love this. Da 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 da. And they hit up, progress up, having different levels. People who are walking to the outside are being very considerate of what's happening on the middle. And then having your feature lower is a really good call there. Melting it down, doo 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 doo, really fun. And then having your next feature kind of bleed through, having walking happening is really nice. Melting through, having your next one as they roll. One of them transitions to the back, everybody else rolls to the front, including your previous feature, which I love, having that pulse and then rolling to the back, which I really like. Do I think this is one of the cleanest choreos? I don't think so. For a choreography video, it's not one of the cleanest. So there could be something happening on the back end because every time I've said that, there has been something like that that's happened. But also note too, this is still very clean, but it's not as clean as what we're used to seeing on a choreography video whenever they run them. So, but this is really nice. They are hitting a lot of these with the tension, like reverbed kind of textures, which I really like. I'm always a fan of a good old reverb and head ISOs, I'll tell you what. Yeah, doon, 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 and they pick it up, let it through, so they're building up the energy behind him, so he doesn't have to do too much. His voice is much deeper, so that helps make him more full. So the fact that they're dancing more full really helps justify his tone, which is great. Yeah, I'll say the range. One of them appeared to be just slightly like millisecondly fast. It's little things like that. I do love the attentiveness on the sides. That always gets A+ on my book when I see groups do that. He rolls through. Next reveal of our next guy. I love that. Doo-doo. I love the double. I think I already said that, that double tap into the throw because it hits that boo-doo, creating that extra level of hold and suspense with the tone and dropping it, which is great. And then they hold it up. We've seen this before, but it was in that concept I didn't quite understand at this point of filming this. They melt it down, woo, woo, down, super fun. Melting through, melting it up. I love that. Boom, with everybody landing at the same time. Great. And that more of that femme, like dragging up the side of the hip and then behind the head. I like that. It was different. That's right. I love this. It just felt more like a tension. Da, 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 da. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then having to switch all of their angles and directions is still very impressive to do. Very much a fan of everybody's commitment to that particular part of it. Of switching the upper body over, tilting the body, really fun to see. Vibing through. Yeah, very nice. Sometimes, I will say this, most of the time when you see people do that move right there, they normally pull their shirt up. So I'm glad that they didn't. This just feels more like a move and you get to accent with the body while still sensual, but a conservative sensual. That's right here with the heel toe. Da, 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 da. Okay, so I was trying to figure this out. So it goes dipping down, and then they pull around. So I think they're snaking. Yes, so they're dipping down, and then they're snaking back. Happy ending, and they throw it. That's probably my favorite groove of the whole song was that one right there. It's just fun. It makes you think, and it feels fun. Like happy ending. It just matches that aesthetic very well. So I'm definitely a fan of that part specifically. I love that they did like a to the back side and then back to the front, having your runs cater to that. Really fun. Building up with the arms. Melting it down. Yes to that. Where they go here and they go, I know we hear it again, but having everybody do a weight shift. Simple but effective, matches that music brilliantly. Wasn't expecting the but seeing them react to it makes me really be captivated on this verse. Yeah, but instead they didn't do the and already drag it out because there's a snap that happened there and they wanted to hit that snap. That boom, boom, and they all got closer. Yeah, boom, boom, made it a little bit bigger there. And they kick it through, hit into the kick through. Really, really nice, tasteful. Seeing this here, I know he folds it open. Love that. And what's even better is that you have people framing what's happening here on the outside. And that helps make it appear more full. And then have your level justified. I think I just made a Pokeball. Did you see that? I went wee and wee. Gotta catch them all, am I right? Ha ha! Okay, anyway. That's not what this is about. He folds it over, and you see how tasteful he folds it over. It looks really nice there. And he molds through and kind of traces each other. That was a really nice moment. He pulls through, they go up, place their hands, and then they grab, pull through. That was just really nice moment with them, having people minimally move behind them. I don't think we needed to do too much in that part. Really nice to just see those two move there. I love that. Boom, doom. Hear that sound. I think that's what the first time I'm like really hearing it so I can talk about it. Boom. So what's nice is when they took the knee and they kind of drug it up. Super cool call. Melting through nice and slow. Him having his moment, having those two being very stoic, symmetrical on both sides. Really like this. Yeah, this right here, I feel like the arms are just slightly off with everybody on that part, but I think their legs are much cleaner, and I think that's what makes this look nice. No, I don't think that they're doing their own thing. Based on the context of how restrictive the actual position is, I feel like that would be it's too close of a call between what everyone's doing to equate it to everyone's doing their own thing. So I think that just needs to be refined a little bit better. That little section, just that section. Now it's a different person being featured, but he's the first one that started it, and then everybody else followed, just like what we saw in verse 1. Yeah, and I really love this. Gives this martial arts hinge in the chest into more of a refined, enclosed position. I really like that. It feels innovative from what we've seen from them in the past. In that bit right there, boom. Just a quick shift over into the position. Really nice. Having one person face front, everybody else face the back, and then having your two outside people seamlessly join back in without taking away from what's happening. So professional. This part is still really nice. I would say one of them didn't quite hinge as far as his mirror did. In the back, I think it was my guy right here, wasn't quite as hinged in that section, but it was so minor. It's not a huge deal. Yeah, that part right there, I think one of them didn't quite catch all of the, those hold on. Oh, it could be him or it could be him. So what ended up happening is I think the range was slightly off between these two. So if you watch the difference between them, I don't quite know what it is. That's why I keep going back to see what it was. Oh, so one of them went back and the other one did not go back, and they still finished switching front. So I don't know what the choreography is supposed to be. That's fine. I'm just saying there's just a little discrepancy because of the speed of it. I think one of them just missed one of the cues or missed one of the shifts, which caused them to be a little bit off in that one bit, and then they came back together at this part. So that's just, it's just a refinement of their range, of their cleanliness. I love that too. Really interesting choice that they chose to travel that. Normally you don't see people travel this type of upper body groove, but they are choosing more. Normally they travel it linearly. They don't travel it like you're actually doing a traffic pattern. So that is a very impressive choice of choreography. With that, I love that when they're here and he just chose to have one arm up. That was a great feature moment. And then we're back to our part. Yeah, happy ending, happy ending. I think also too when they do that, they go happy ending, then they bring it around like a, not like a Cabbage Patch or Reebok or anything like that, but it definitely feels that kind of vibe. Happy ending, happy ending. And that's what makes them appear as two different grooves, but it's a mix of a snake with the arms. Love it. I love that. Da, 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 da. I still love it every single time. I think the transitions are probably some of my favorite here because of just the groove and how they're choosing to utilize it is slightly more innovative than how I normally see it. And that's what makes it really fun. Walk through into your columns. They're being very still and stoic now, but take note here. This is a preference thing, but everybody over here has their feet together except for this guy. They have separated, kind of together and together. So it would be making sure everybody is doing the same thing on both sides. As they walk through, it's interesting that one chose to go in while one chose to go the complete opposite diagonal, which is cool, but it makes sense because he needed to come from this part. And they all walk on tempo, nice and quick, had a little dip to showcase we're about to build up to something bigger than what we just did. This was nice. Do-do, do-do, do-do. And notice they have an accent on the wrist as they do that. Do-do, do-do. And I really think that's super cool. And they build it boo-do, do-do, and get a little bit lower there. Melting it through. Da-da-da. Yeah, that was fun. Yeah. Da-da-da-da. Doom, doom. And then they just melt through. Here we go. Finishing it up. Do-do. And then I like the choice that they chose to do these arms because it matches these arms that they did a little bit earlier. They were more legato, so it's cool to have a staccato equivalence of that in a course or a pre-course somewhere, so it really ties those in together, even though the dynamics are slightly different. That was cool. Up, and then they pulled from the hip as they chose to do that. They didn't just let it happen. They used the hip to help accent that hinge a little bit more. That was cool. They threw it down, came back up. Yeah. And back into the happy ending. So I'd say this is probably one of my favorite focal point choreos, just as like a personal preference thing, not because of any other objective criteria. I just like it. It's just cool. You know, and I also like the home one too, because they just did a little rebound, which was super fun, you know? But I have a ton of 17 left to react to though, so there'll probably be more, I'm sure. And they finish in a column, so there's a good chance that they're probably going to start from a column like this. But you also notice that one of them, it could be strategic or what, but he's just kind of hanging out right here. So it's not a true column, so that'd be my one note of correction, unless that's how they're starting another routine or what would normally happen in their catalog for a concert. So that's my overall note. Overall, though, I think this was great. It was fun, and I kind of already mentioned what I said. It's kind of a mid-line kind of performance, but in the best way possible. The fact that this kind of quality and caliber is their average really speaks volumes and attests to their professionalism and what concepts they choose to pursue, both on the lower end and on the upper end. I think it's awesome. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope I was helpful in some way. I've been thoroughly enjoying my 17 marathon from debut up until the most recent things being reacted to. If you want to see more 17 K-pop, dance concept, what have you, I have that all over YouTube as well as on Patreon. If you are seeing this on YouTube specifically, that means this has been out for a very long time. I think I kind of dated it when I was talking about when their comeback took place, because what I've been doing is releasing older reactions like this one as their comebacks take place. So eventually, at this point we're about halfway, so that definitely means there is a ton of reactions that are not released on YouTube yet, if this is the most recent one that I've released, basically, from 17. But if you want to check that out, please do so. If not, that's fine. If you just want to hang out with YouTube, I hope there is something here for you that could be helpful in some way besides this video. And I'm Jess, and I will catch you on the flip side. Bye!